What's up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Today, we're going to be breaking down the Suicide Squad trailer. And be warned, this is a red band trailer, so there is some kind of naughty language and some violence. So if you're kind of opposed to that, please go away, check out our next video. We won't be hurt. But let's jump right in. Starts on a bus with part of the squad going to rescue Harley with some wonderful banter between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. And they have a great plan, and they're about to free her, and then we see that Harley has freed herself. I think in a wonderful little scene where she's so touched by the fact that they were not going to leave her there that she's willing to go back in so they can save her. Now, a spoiler for later in the trailer, if you're here, I'm sure you're fine with it, but this does seem like this is a pre-Starro mission. So I think we're going to have, multiple Suicide Squad missions in this movie, because we do see Harley in that dress that she's fighting in a little later. And it's a different outfit than we see her a couple different times. We also see that Bloodsport has a little blood on his shirt. It looks like he may have been shot. So I think we are going to see a little bit of action before this happens. Maybe we'll see how Harley gets captured. We don't know, but definitely looking forward to seeing all of this.
The one thing that I'm really curious about, if they're going to sort of reference or bring up, I feel like if they're going to do it, it might be Harley that does it, or maybe Flag. But I wonder if they're going to reference the previous Suicide Squad movie. Maybe Harley will talk about, oh, you remember that crazy mission we were on? They're all going to look at her and be like, what the hell is she talking about?
I know what you're saying, Doug. And this is after the Suicide Squad first movie, but it's not really a sequel. But they both are canon, so she could make a reference.
I think there's definitely a possibility with Boomerang, Captain Boomerang coming back, Harley Quinn. I think there's a good chance that they may make some reference to Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer. Then we get a wonderful choice for a Suicide Squad movie, Steely Dan's Dirty Work. So that was a perfect choice by Mr. Gunn. And then we see Savant, and we get all the squad rules, explosive in your head. Takes 10 years off your sentence if you're successful. We see Blackguard with a little toilet paper on his Crocs. I thought that was really well done. The Doctor is no other than John Ostrander himself, the creator of the Suicide Squad. So I thought that was a wonderful little cameo in the trailer and extremely well done. We then see Weasel licking his cage, played by Sean Gunn, which was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see his portrayal in this.
I figure if anybody can bring some sort of like talking, moving, animalish like creature to life, it's got to be James Gunn. He did it perfectly in Guardians of the Galaxy with Rocket. Let's see that Weasel.
Just like with Rocket, it's played by his brother, Sean. I thought Rooker, just to go back a couple of seconds, Rooker in that shot, he looks awesome as usual. He's the one that, had the bomb injected into his skull. I only am afraid that he doesn't last long in this movie, because that's the only scene we see him in.
Yeah, Dave, even James Gunn has admitted that don't get close to any of these characters, because a lot of them are not going to make it out. And then we see Boomerang with some gum or some poop or shit on his foot. We see him scraping it off. Seems to be a theme. Blackguard had some toilet paper. Now Boomerang, or Captain Boomerang, I'm sorry. And then we see some character shots walking, and we see TDK drinking a Mr. Pibb. For those of you who are unfamiliar, a Mr. Pibb is a Dr. Pepper without all of the schooling. King Shark eating a guy in the jungle, just pretty much swallowing him whole. And let me say, there was a lot of excellent choices for this movie. Sly Stallone doing the voice of King Shark. Chef's kiss, just absolutely amazing. I love it.
Another comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy that I think is great is the fact that they got a big action star like Sylvester Stallone to play this sort of CGI character with just a few lines, kind of a dumbed down character too, like King Shark. And they did the same thing in Guardians with having Vin Diesel play Groot. I think that's great. If anybody was going to be the perfect director for this film, it was definitely James Gunn.
And then we see Amanda Waller in sort of a prep room where they must be getting ready for a mission. And she says, "Any questions?" And King Shark raises his hand and says, "Hand?" And then we get Bloodsport going,
"We're all gonna die,"
with the Polka Dot Man, who's saying, very sadly,
"I hope so."
So we know he's going to live. Polka Dot Man will make it to the end of this movie alive, because he does want to die. And let me just say, that was pretty much balls on for that character. It was so well done. I mean, Polka Dot Man is going to be brilliant in this, and I can't wait to see it. And then we get, and once again, for those of you who don't like the language, Bloodsport saying,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
it's definitely rated R, people. Now we see Flag talking to Thinker in all the ways he can die if he, leads them astray, if he gives them false information. And then we had Harley saying, and personalized license plates, which I do think is a shout out to Suicide Squad, because if you see Joker's car, he has a license plate that says, ha, 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 ha. So I think that is kind of a reference back to Suicide Squad and the whole coughing and covering, and Flag saying, well, you won't die, but this isn't an invitation to cough without covering your mouth. We then see, like some military men in another locale. So once again, we are going to get multiple missions, because I do think some people that maybe are in the first mission aren't going to be around to see the second and possible third mission. And then we get more Bloodsport and Peacemaker back and forth, with Peacemaker at least proving verbally that he really is peace at any cost, because I don't know how many dicks you can fit on a beach, but that's got to be quite a few. And if he's willing to do that for liberty, then hats off. Peacemaker, we're all behind you 100%.
It's a good thing we have people out there like him.
Without Peacemaker, where would we be? I'm really looking forward to that show on HBO Max. I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, but man, he seems to fit in this role perfectly. And he has that wonderful line at the end of it when she said, why would anyone, put penises all over the beach? And
That's why madmen do what they do.
that's such a great line. And then we get a montage with "This is Suicide" line, followed by King Shark ripping a guy in half, which we found out King Shark in this was CGI, but that person being ripped in half was actually like a practical effect, James Gunn was saying on Twitter yesterday, which was pretty cool. I do think that his line saying that's what we do isn't really going to follow someone saying this is suicide. I think that was just kind of for the trailer, one of those trailer tricks we always talk about. I think it's going to be a little different when we see it live.
That's the name of the movie, Suicide Squad.
Well, I did read, we got the trailer tricks, but I did read that James Gunn did direct the trailer, and he picked out what was going to be in the trailer. So good for him. It wasn't just like some other company doing it. He showed what he wanted to show in this trailer.
We then see Harley in that dress from the rescue scene early on the thing, shooting people, and it's either her freeing herself or maybe when they think she got captured. And then we see kind of a tower coming down, followed by Bloodsport with Ratcatcher 2 in a van, in a truck of some kind, where he's like, I'm going to get you out of here alive. And Ratcatcher saying, no, I'm going to get you out of here alive, which I have thoughts on that. We'll talk about after the end here. And then we get the big reveal, which I had talked about prior. We've talked about it. Everyone was talking about it, where we get that big reveal and the wonderful line.
Oh my God, we've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit.
And then we see Starro. We saw him on a screen. Now we see him live, and it's just going to be awesome. I mean, anyone who thought we would ever see Starro the Conqueror in a live action movie, it was probably nobody. And I think James Gunn is going to absolutely blow this out of the water. I'm so looking forward to this. It's going to be just probably the best DC movie to date.
I gotta say, Keith, I am so glad that it's Starro. Honestly, I would have taken any villain at this point, because for a split second, when I saw all those colors whooshing out of the ground, I thought for a second, oh boy, here we go with another Skybeam.
And for those of you who are not familiar with Starro the Conqueror, we will probably be doing an in focus. We're going to have a 1,000 in focuses to do for this movie with all of the different characters that are being introduced into the Suicide Squad. But Starro is just amazingly powerful. He does mind control. He can change his colors. He can change his size. He pretty much can do anything. So it's going to be interesting to see how these characters fight him off. But because of his mind control, I've got a stinking suspicion that we are going to see some squad versus squad action here, and they're going to be fighting each other at the request of Starro. But I do think the reason we see Thinker, the reason Thinker is part of this group, his ability to hopefully ward off Starro's mind control to keep people, in action, or maybe the Thinker is going to die because he's helping Starro at some point. I don't know. But I do think the Thinker's ability is going to help them ward off Starro's mind control ability. And like I said earlier, the Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2 scene that we see where they're both saying they're going to get out alive, I think that is after the first Starro battle. And they're rushing to get out of there to get back so they can get more troops. Because I think they're going to go into this not knowing it's Starro. And when he shows himself, they're going to get the floor just absolutely wiped. And the trailer ends with the rain scene with Harley saying, "Oh, I love the rain. It's like angels are splooging all over us," which we now know why Doug loves being in the rain so much.
I thought it was for the drizzle. So this trailer looks fun. The movie looks fun. Everything on the commercial, the trailer looks great. It just, and it doesn't give away a whole lot in the plot. We can speculate, but nothing is like in a Zack Snyder movie trailer. It usually explains the whole plot within the trailer. This doesn't. I can't tell you which way it's going to go. I'm excited about it.
I actually had this crazy thought, kind of going along with Dave's theme, that we really didn't get much of the plot in this trailer. We get little snippets and we get a lot of great action and a lot of great lines. What if Starro isn't the main baddie? What if he's not the big bad of this and he's just a side mission that they kind of go on? Who would the big bad really be? I don't know.
Mephisto.
It is definitely going to be Mephisto. He is showing up. The multiverse is broken, people. Doctor Strange 2, the Suicide Squad, Mephisto. He's taken out Amanda Waller. He's taken out Colonel Rick Flag. He's taken out Harley Quinn. Maybe it is Harley Quinn. That's what we saw. What did you guys think of the trailer? Has it got you more fired up for August 6th? It certainly does for all of us. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments, and we'll see you next time at Not Your Status Quo. Thank you.